Has this ever happened to you?
Looking to open a free checking or savings account?
Good evening and welcome to SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, and welcome to the final episode of Thursday's SportsZone. This is our finale, and we have a pretty exciting show planned. We're going to start with the NBA play-in tournament, kicked off earlier this week. Will finish up tomorrow. Lots of key matchups. The Mavs survived last night. Moving on, play the Grizzlies. It's going to be an interesting one, but I want to talk about the matchups that have happened so far, starting with the Hawks Magic. We saw a bit of a crash out for Trae Young, getting ejected after a couple techs in that game, and they ultimately fell. So, Ian, get us started. What did you see from that game?
Hey, man, if I was Trae Young, I'd be mad too. All right, he's the only one who's really contributing on the offense right now, which is kind of unfortunate, but, you know, it is what it is. He's in his 7 years in the NBA, he's never had an all-star teammate, which is crazy. I think that just tells you how it's been in Atlanta for a long time now. But just a great overall performance by the Magic on the other side. Paolo was great. Cole Anthony had 26 off the bench, and he was shooting well. This Magic team's a little sneaky good. Be curious to see how they do going into the playoffs.
Yep, it's going to be interesting. How are you feeling, Josh?
Same thing. I mean, Paolo for me was phenomenal against the Hawks, and really it shows that they're kind of getting healthier at the end of the day. You know, this Magic team's kind of been up and down all year. Really starting to see that really good side of the health market. Obviously, Paolo was out for a little bit, but Paolo's playing great. Atlanta, not so much. It's Trae Young and everybody else, and at the end of the day, this Magic team does look like they could be in for a run in terms of just the East overall.
Yep, definitely. So the Magic have officially punched their ticket into the playoffs, so we'll see how they can do. The Hawks will have a matchup against the Heat. We'll talk about that a little later as they have one more shot to try to make it in. But I want to talk next about the Grizzlies-Warriors. This was, I think, probably one of the best games out of the play-in. You know, there were some blowouts. This one was close throughout. And the Warriors, I think, playoff Jimmy, playoff Curry. I mean, they showed up a little bit early here in the play-in tournament. Looking at these highlights here, what did you guys see from that game? It was close throughout. Ja had a solid game, went down with that ankle injury, but ultimately the Warriors come up on top with multiple 35-point-plus performances by both Curry and Jimmy Butler. Ian starts off.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was just playoff Jimmy and playoff Steph. They were fantastic. Another thing that I think is important to point out about this game is that the Grizzlies had 19 turnovers compared to the 10 from Golden State, and I think that was something that really sealed the deal. I mean, it's a single-digit loss, so close games like that, having a 9-turnover differential, that's going to lose you that game.
Yeah, I think the same thing. That's a really good stat. The big thing for me was just Memphis, what are we doing putting Zach Edey on Jimmy Butler and allowing him to beat you from three? That's how they started this game. Jimmy Butler was on fire from three-point range. And then you give him the opportunity to just drive at you. You force Zach Edey to foul. He fouls. He gets to the line. And playoff Jimmy's back. It's kind of like that Spider-Man meme where he puts the suit in the trash. You know, Jimmy hadn't been in the playoffs for 2 years, and now he's back. So that really puts the Warriors into a really good spot, taking that load off of Steph.
Yeah, playoff Jimmy is back, and obviously this is going to be an interesting matchup. They'll play the Rockets in the playoffs, kind of youth versus experience.
Yeah.
You have, I mean, multiple future Hall of Famers on this team, and then you're going up against guys that are barely older than us in the Rockets. And it's going to be interesting. Do you guys think the Warriors have what it takes to make a run here?
I mean, they certainly have the star power, and we know that in the playoffs that can matter for sure. So I don't know if I would bet against them against the Rockets necessarily. But of course, there's a couple big juggernauts in the West they're gonna have to get through.
Yeah.
Especially OKC, which we'll also talk about later, and then of course the Lakers with Luka.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a hard team to beat as well. So I don't know if I'd pick them to take the West, but I think they'll match up well in that Rocket series.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely interesting to watch that one. So I want to move on back over to the East and talk about the Heat Bulls game. This was a game where the Heat pretty much dominated as well. Yeah. Chicago went out a little bit sad in that game. They just didn't have what it took to get that one done. Despite, you know, some solid performances, the Heat really came out on top in that one. Josh, what did you see from that game?
Well, Tyler Hero was quite literally on fire, not to make a pun about that,
was
but
the hero.
Either way, he literally was on fire, 38 points. Andrew Wiggins had a big night. Bam Adebayo had a really nice night. And for me, Davion Mitchell, 15 off the bench, what he brought you on that aggressiveness on offense and defense. Overall, the Heat were just a better team, and Chicago just does what Chicago does. Josh Giddey, 25 points, but didn't really work in the assist category. Obviously, that's one of his biggest skill set. Kobe White had a really down game for his standards. And everybody else on the bench besides THT just really didn't do anything. And you really need that in terms of play-ins and playoffs. And so Chicago doing what Chicago does best, and unfortunately in the L category yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing, I mean, we've already seen a couple times in his highlights them making a couple big threes. The Heat just shot better than Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And that's gonna win you games.
Yeah.
So the Heat, I believe they were 50% from the field, and they were 37% from three, and Chicago was about 10 points worse than that in both those stats. So yeah, I mean, if your shots are falling, then you're gonna be able to win games. That's a big stat to have on the road like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here, obviously, the Bulls going out a little bit sad there, reflection of on their way home, basically. So unfortunately for Chicago, they're going to have to wait till next year. For the Heat, though, they'll have a matchup coming up against the Hawks. So we'll preview it a little bit more. But how are you guys feeling about the Heat and their chances to win a second game and get into the playoffs as a 10 seed?
I'm feeling really good. You know,
Okay.
I really like that they can really get into this run and get into this playoffs. They've done it before. Look,
Yes.
they don't have Jimmy Butler
Exactly,
anymore.
and I was going to say that
that's the
too,
big
but
kinda
they
chaos.
have that playoff mentality,
Yeah.
right?
Overall, look, this Heat team is really going forward. Tyler Hero's taking a big step in a lot of ways. I'm really liking it. I don't know if it's the hype train or what, but I'm on it.
Yeah, and I mean, we already talked earlier about
Yeah, we
how
did.
we're not very high on the Hawks.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm looking at their team and I'm like, who's going to step up for them?
Exactly.
Karis LeVert, maybe? He had 31 against the 76ers in the season finale. Like, I don't really see it, you know, but they're going to need someone to step up and help Trey,
Yeah,
or else
no.
they're not going to win another game.
Is it going to be Ricochet, you know, the big rookie who was at one point touted as the first overall pick in a year that was not the best draft class in the NBA overall going forward? Who is it going to be? Trae Young needs some help. Someone get him some help in Atlanta, please.
Yep, we'll see if he gets some help, but I want to talk now about the big game from last night. The Dallas Mavericks against, it seemed like all odds, went into Sacramento and actually dominated the Kings. Defense paid off, I guess you could say, in that game. So this is another situation where the 10 seed beats the 9, so the Mavs will have another matchup coming up tomorrow. But Ian, this was a dominant performance by the Mavs, both defensively, and they had some really good shooting. Guys like Brandon Williams really stepping up. What do you see from this game for
Yeah,
Dallas?
I mean, as a team, they shot 50% from three, and a big part of that was Klay Thompson. He got hot early.
Yes.
He had a fantastic second quarter. He had 16 by the end of the first half, I believe. I think he made 5 threes on the game. Just exceptional shooting. Brandon Williams was shooting very well as well. And the three-point shooting is going to carry this team a long way. AD will be in the paint, and he'll be a problem as long as he stays healthy. But if they can shoot, that's really going to be the bread and butter of this team going far.
Yeah, it's going to be important, especially with looking at Klay Thompson. The last time he was in the play-in tournament was the infamous 0 for 10 shooting day, 0 for 10 from 3. It was just disastrous. Here, gets a little bit of revenge against the team that knocked him out in that playoffs. He wins against them, knocks Sacramento, sending them home. And Anthony Davis even saying, yeah, you guys might want to beat traffic because this game was over pretty early. Josh, what do you see from Dallas, and how do you think they're going to be able to carry this momentum into a big-time matchup against the Grizzlies trying to make it into the playoffs?
Let's talk about the size, right? Really the big key in this game for me was Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, and Daniel Gafford, right? They made Sabonis look like he had seen a ghost. He was just not who he is, usually one of the best big guys in the league, especially on the rebounding side. Had a decent day, but on the offensive side, AD, Derek Lively, and Gafford really shut that down. When it comes to Memphis, obviously Ja is going to be the guy who really gets them going, but he's not 100%. We know that that ankle is definitely going to bother him, and the biggest thing it's going to bother him with is driving to the paint, something Memphis has led the NBA in. In terms of Jaren Jackson Jr. and Zach Edey, they have been up and down all year. And so, look, if this is AD's time to feast, it's now, and this team looks like it is gelling together, and they may be going somewhere with it.
Okay, yeah, they look dialed in. You know, the Kings, unfortunately, weren't able to light that beam. They're going to be sending their fans home disappointed this time. And it was a very interesting fall-off for the Kings. De'Aaron Fox, obviously, no longer with them, blurring them out there. And it just, they went through all this change. DeMar DeRozan came in, obviously, reunited with Zach LaVine. And I don't know what exactly their future is, but for the Mavs, they live to see another game. You know, we don't have to talk about next year quite yet because we have tomorrow night. So, Ian, Mavs, Grizzlies, who do you think takes it?
It's a hard one for me. You know, Josh and I were talking before the show. If you would have asked me about this game in a vacuum, I would have told you that the Grizzlies were going to win it comfortably. But recency matters. The recent performances matter. And the Mavs had a dominant performance against Sacramento, and the Grizzlies lost a tough one against Golden State. And the Ja Morant injury is also huge. You know, I look at like how well DeMar DeRozan played in that Kings game. He scored 33, and the Mavs are having a hard time stopping him. And if Ja was healthy, that would concern me a lot.
Yeah.
But because he's not healthy, then I kind of like the Mavs' chances a little better. I think either way, it's going to be probably a one-score game. I think it's going to be really close.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it'll probably be like 108, 106, either direction.
Yeah.
I don't really want to make a pick on it. I think it's going to be real close.
All right, it's going to be close. Josh, what are you thinking?
I think it's going to be close to exactly the same thing. It's going to be a tight game. I think it'll be single digits. For Grizzlies fans, hopefully it doesn't count down to a 5-second call where you take a second to inbound the ball.
That was a disaster.
It was just like, they
Could
took
not
a second
believe
to
that.
run. Like, he
Yeah.
had the ball and just like, he took a second to run, guys. What are we doing?
Yeah, I could not believe that. And so for the Grizzlies, they'll get another shot. They'll get another shot here against the Mavs. But I don't know. Dallas, after everything, I like their chances. I think they take this one. Number 1, Thunder coming up after that. I don't know. We'll see about that. But for now, we're going to move on and talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Craving something fresh, flavorful, and made just for you? Look no further than Avesta, your go-to destination for a delicious, full-service dining experience. Dive into our customizable omelets, expertly crafted by our talented cook Jonathan, who guarantees every bite is perfection. All our dishes are handmade, prepared with only the freshest ingredients. Explore our assembly line where you can choose from any of our globally inspired dishes, or customize your plate. It's that easy. And let's not forget dessert. Indulge your sweet tooth with treats from Clark Bakery. With convenient payment methods including card or flex, it's the perfect dining spot for any occasion. Quench your thirst with our wide selection of drinks. Just hand your drinking card to our friendly waiter, and they'll bring your beverage of choice right to your table. When you're done savoring every last bite, our attentive staff will whisk away your tray. Enjoy the peaceful ambiance as you dine in, or use our takeout option for a meal on the go. Avesta.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm joined by Nick Volpetti and Matthew McDowell, and we're going to talk over to the NHL, talk some hockey and the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Just finished talking about basketball, we play in, but NHL, we don't got to worry about that. We go straight into the playoffs, and it's going to be an exciting playoffs. There's a lot of great matchups throughout the league. But before we get into the playoffs, I want to talk about the Stars because they're coming in as one of the favorites. They're supposed to be, odds on the favorite to win the Stanley Cup. But they're now on a 7-game losing streak, the worst in Pete DeBoer's career, their head coach. And it's just looked like the wheels are falling off at the worst possible time. Nick, I'll start with you. What's been going wrong for the Stars over this very, very tough stretch? And how do you think they can overcome this going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think that it even goes a bit beyond the 7-game losing streak personally.
Yeah.
If you go back to the start of March, they've been getting outshot by an average of 33.5 to 24.7. That's about an average of 9 per game that they've been getting outshot. They've only outshot their opponent in 2 of 23 games ever since the start of March. So they've had a hard time getting pucks on net. They've had a hard time defending. I think coming into this season, one of the main concerns with the Stars was the D-core, guys like Matt Dumba. We weren't so sure of it. I think it's been about the worst case scenario possible with Matt Dumba, unfortunately for the Stars. So I think that for this playoff series, they got to get more pucks on net. 24.7 shots per game is not going to cut it, and neither is 33.5 against. So you got to start getting more pucks on net, and you got to make life easy for your goaltenders because they've been under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I agree with Nick. You look at the game skid that we've been on. I do have a fun fact just to relieve maybe some Stars fans going in on this. There's only been a couple teams that made the playoffs after a 7-game skid, but there's been one team that won the Stanley Cup going into that. That was the 01-02 Detroit Red Wings, and the assistant GM for that team was ours truly, Jim Nill. So not all hope is lost. Even though the wheels are kind of falling off the bus right now, don't panic yet. Like we've said, Pete DeBoer's had 7 game ones in his Stars coaching career. He's lost all 7 game ones. We've won 4 out of those 3 series. So, pump the brakes a little, guys. It's hockey. It's so unpredictable. Not everything we can do. But like Nick said, 14 straight games we've been outshot. That's pathetic when we're playing teams like Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, lower tier teams. That's just not going to cut it in the playoffs, especially when you're getting shot on by guys like Nathan McKinnon, Marty Necas, Cale Makar, and more. We'll see how the Stars come into playoffs. They're definitely got to stay healthy and get healthy. We'll see an update here on Jason Robertson tomorrow. Yes. It's just a shame. First-round bust like Michael McCarron. He's got like 60 points in almost 400 career games. He's got like a net minus 60 overall plus-minus his career. Can take out a player like Jason Robertson, who's better than a point per game in his career. Has got a plus 95 plus-minus in his career. So it really sucks that, just a big old dummy can take out an impactful player right before playoffs. I'll keep it a little filtered, but I believe in the Stars. I've doubted them before, but they've always proved me wrong. So, I might be a little too optimistic, but I'm optimistic.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And I think the tough part, though, like you said, some of those matchups, Utah, the Red Wings, and the Nashville Predators, those last 3 losses for the Stars, all teams that are not in the playoffs. And it's just like, there's going to be those tough matchups, which, of course, you're going to need them in the playoffs. But losing those games against lower quality teams, I think, is what was a bit concerning to me, especially. But it's going to be interesting. Obviously, injuries are going to play a big role in this. Miro Heiskanen remains out with his injury, the knee that, still makes me upset. That Stone going into him there. Matt Stone, of course, of everyone. And then Jason Robertson, of course, went down in that last game. So, Nick, how much do you think the injuries are going to impact the Stars going into this first series against Colorado?
I think we've kind of seen it already throughout the season. I think they have really missed Heiskanen, and I think that's one of the main reasons why it's been so rough defensively. Even if there were concerns coming in, when you lose your top guy like Miro Heiskanen, who I think is one of the best guys in his own end in the NHL at keeping the puck away from the dangerous areas. I mean, when you lose a guy like that, it's hard. It's hard to play without a guy like that, and especially when you're going against, like you said, guys like Marty Necas, Nate McKinnon, some of the best players in the NHL that the Colorado Avalanche have. It's going to be hard. It has been hard, and I think it'll continue to be tough for the Stars.
I mean, yeah, I agree. It's let alone not just losing Miro Heiskanen, but you're losing a top 5 defenseman in the NHL.
Absolutely.
He just does all the little things right when it comes to handling just the short plays with the puck and getting it out of the zone and just calming down the ice, especially in the Star zone end if they've recently had icing and have been in their own zone for a while. I mean, guys have stepped up. Thomas Harley stepped up. We've seen guys get that dog in them. Thomas Harley's been a dog as of late. Sam Steele, I know he's not a flashy name, but on the fourth line, he's a fourth line grinder.
Yes,
I mean,
big fan of him.
Yes, I'm a big Sam Steele guy. I mean, Jason Robertson, even though he's not healthy, we've seen guys deal with injuries like Chris Tanev last year.
Yep.
He was wearing boots in the airport. People were spotting him wearing boots, and he was still out on the ice. I mean, it's hockey. Medicine has just developed so much. This isn't NBA. We're not having guys who, get a paper cut and they're out for 2 weeks. So, I mean, I'm concerned with the injuries. Don't get me wrong, but, I mean, these are hockey players. These aren't basketball players. So.
Yeah, they're going to tough through it the best they can. And obviously, 7-game losing streak, once the playoff starts, it's all out the window because it's fresh. So it's going to be Stars Avalanche, a bit of a reunion also type of game there after the trades. And it's going to be an exciting one to watch. Nick, what are you looking to see from this series, Stars Avalanche, and who do you think takes it?
Right now, I'm looking for the Stars to kind of rebound for the way they've been playing in these last 23 games. I mean, if you're getting outshot every game against the Avalanche, you're probably not going to win unless Jake Anders standing on his head like we saw a few years ago against the Flames. But just in general, I think the Stars need to do a better job of getting those pucks on net. You got to have some more shots. You got to create some more chances because Mackenzie Blackwood in net for the Colorado Avalanche is a great goaltender himself. And the Stars have had great goaltending, but so do the Avalanche. I think they've got some pretty good goaltending too. So, I mean, you really got to do a better job of just maybe you wouldn't always shoot from the positions from the blue line and things like that, but you might have to just make it more simple and get some more pucks to the net, try and get those deflection goals with guys like Jamie Benn who have been so good at that. So I think that's kind of the strategy they need to have.
I mean, you can talk about strategy, but if there's a sport where someone can steal a game, it's in the NHL. And with goaltenders like Jake Onger, we have seen in the past he's stolen games. I agree, Mackenzie Blackwood's been very good since coming over to Colorado, but I think anyone will look good when you're on a San Jose team where you're facing 40 shots a night. Then you come to Colorado, which you have arguably the best defenseman and the best forward in the NHL. I mean, on your team, making sure the puck's not in your own end. So, I mean, the Stars Avalanche series, it's really, you can't expect anything to really happen. It's very unpredictable. We've seen the past Game 7 of the bubble. I mean, Joel Kiviranta scored a hat trick. I don't think that was on anyone's bingo card. So, I mean, it's hockey. It's unpredictable. I'm staying optimistic, as always, with the Stars. But, I mean, we'll see how the first few games go. I think that'll really determine Miro's when he comes back. I mean, if we're down 2-0 after the first 2 games, he's playing Game 5. If it's 2-2 after the first 4 games, he'll play in Game 5. I meant Game 3 on the first one, excuse me there. But, I mean, we'll see what it is. It's unpredictable. I mean, there's still a lot of unknown. Gabe Landeskog will come back. We'll see what Jason Robertson's injury update's like. So a lot of unknown in the series.
Yep, a lot of unknown, and we will have to see if Rantanen can get some revenge. It's going to be a lot of different factors. But I want to zoom out, talk about the playoffs as a whole, because we have a lot of great matchups, and it's going to be exciting. Matthew, break down sort of what you're thinking, your predictions, and who do you think is going to take the Stanley Cup?
This may be a little bit repetitive on my part, but I am beyond optimistic. I mean, as we can see there, I have the Stars winning the Cup. It would be against my morals to pick otherwise. I have the Jets, gentlemen, sweeping the Blues. I think the Blues have been super hot, and they're a good playoff team. They have a lot of experienced guys on there, but I think the Jets are a little bit of a wagon right now. I obviously have the Stars over the Avalanche. I do not like the Avalanche, I'll say that much. Minnesota and Vegas, I'll have Vegas over there. But in the Western Conference, I mean, I have LA upsetting Edmonton and then them upsetting Vegas. Western Conference Final, it's going to look like Dallas, LA. Dallas moves on. Eastern Conference Final, I'm going to have Tampa Bay and Washington. I'm going to have Tampa Bay moving on. It'll be a rematch of the 2020 Bubble Stanley Cup, and I have it going the other way. I got Stars in 6 on that one.
All right, it's going to be interesting. Nick, how are you feeling looking at this playoffs and all these matchups? Who do you got going to the Stanley Cup?
All right, so I do wish I could be as optimistic about the Stars as you are, but just watching the way they've been playing over these last few games, I think they kind of need to prove me wrong here. They can, they absolutely can. Like you said, they proved you wrong before, they proved me wrong before too. So I hope they can, but for now I got the Avs taking it over them. But I do think the Jets are going to go all the way. They have been so good this season. I think Connor Hellebuck is finally going to be able to show in the playoffs what he's shown in the regular season. There's been a bit of a sort of a gap between his playoff ability and his regular season ability, but I think he'll finally be able to put it all together. And moving on to the Eastern Conference side, I'm going with a pretty big upset with the Ottawa Senators over Toronto. Maybe just because I don't really like Toronto that much.
I like that, though. I mean, a very physical team versus with a lot of pompous guys. Not to insult Toronto, but Mitch Marner, who are you taking, Mitch Marner or Brady Tkachuk in the playoffs? I know.
Brady Tkachuk's a playoff player, man.
Exactly.
And Linus Ullmark is a fantastic goaltender, too. I think they got the goaltending edge there. And then kind of moving on, I think Tampa is going to get it done against Florida. Then they'll end that run for Ottawa, and I think they're going to go all the way to the Eastern Conference Final, where the Capitals, who have also been a really good team, I could see myself being wrong there about the Capitals because Carolina's really good too, but I do think the Capitals are going to be able to keep this nice run going that they have and get to the Cup final, but ultimately I think Winnipeg's going to take it.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, and I'm going to take a little bit of a middle ground with the Stars. I do think that they're able to shake this off. I think they bounce back, and I think they win that first series against the Avalanche, and I think they go in and upset the Jets. I'm very optimistic there, and then I got the Golden Knights going as well. I think they take it and get back to the Stanley Cup, and all this Maple Leafs hate needs to go away. After all the craziness, Austin Matthews, I think they finally lock in and get it done this year. Going to be an interesting matchup against Ottawa. I think they take it. The Panthers is going to be a good one as well. Capitals, I have them going all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals to take them on. I think that's going to be a really good matchup. But the Leafs, they've been one of the hottest teams in hockey over these last couple weeks, and I don't know what the disrespect is over here, but I really think they have a shot. The Stars, I really do think they have what it takes to go far. This is such a deep hockey team. They have so much talent offensively. Despite the defense, I do believe Mira will come back. I believe that this team has what it takes to make a run. I mean, just looking at down the lineup, I just got to name a few. Wyatt Johnston, Matt Duchene, Jason Robertson. I mean, you just have so much talent. We've talked about Rantanen already. This team is too deep to go out this early, and I know it's been rough, but I do believe that they can bounce back when it matters most. So it's going to be exciting for the Stars. It's going to be exciting to watch this entire Stanley Cup playoffs. But for now, we got to move on into a little bit of a game, to Bowl of Takes.
Has this ever happened to you?
My bike! My bike is gone!
Stolen bikes are an epidemic sweeping college campuses across America.
What am I supposed to do?
It's quite simple. The We Mean Green Fund has partnered with the UNT Police Department to offer free bike locks to any UNT student with a bike. Just show up with your bike in tow and ask.
Now I'll never lose my bike ever again.
Enough worrying. Get your bike lock today.
Looking to open a free checking or savings account but don't know where to start? Check out DatQ Credit Union right here on campus. Get your Mean Green debit card instantly or apply for a DatQ Visa credit card today. Your school, your card. Plus, make deposits at their 24/7 ATM, checks or cash whenever you need it. Make sure to sign up for DatQ's online banking platform and mobile app for easy access anytime, anywhere. Visit them at www.datq.org to learn more. DatQ, the official financial institution of UNT Athletics.
Are you looking for a fun club with travel opportunities? Dive into the UNT Swim Club. Practicing Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Pole Recreation Center. We accept members at any skill level. For more information, reach out to us at unt.swimclub on Instagram.
Good evening and welcome back to SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, and I am joined by John Phillips and Oscar Chavez, and we're going to have some fun here. Bowl of Takes. This is our special game segment. We have our contestants here. So I'm going to pull out a take. We're going to see what you guys are thinking. These are some hot takes, some opinions, some debates. Let's get right into it. Let's pull out this first one.
I am ready.
All right. Okay, first we're going to go. There's been a lot of talk. WNBA draft just happened. So is Paige Beckers or Caitlin Clark better? in your opinions? John, start us off. Paige or Caitlin?
I've said this for years since they were in college. Paige Beckers is the better player. Caitlin Clark got the headline. She got the records. Paige Beckers is an all-around stud, a playmaker, a scorer, defender, rebounder. There's nothing that she cannot do. Caitlin Clark, elite scorer, but she has some flaws in her game. And with Paige Beckers, I think you could build any team you want around her and go to the championship. She is a player that's 1A on a championship team eventually.
So, it would be no fun if I said the person I was thinking, which would be Paige Beckers. However, I'm going to go with Caitlin Clark.
There we go.
You said there is that Caitlin Clark needs a great team compared to Paige Beckers,
Absolutely,
correct?
yeah.
Paige Beckers only won one national championship in their 4 years at UConn, which has a star-studded team every year. I know she got hurt, but she had 2 years that she
many
was
injuries.
healthy to be able to take them to the national championship, and she only did it in one.
Azzy Fudd injured. Paige Beckers injured. Every single star
If
UConn
Paige
has had
is
has
really
been
like
injured.
that, if she's really like that, she would have prevailed and led that team to a national
Played with the
championship.
torn ACL.
Caitlin Clark almost did that, and she only had like what one person drafted.
True. I mean, I think, yeah, she had one person drafted. She's elite at elevating a college team, the floor, but I don't know if she's a ceiling raiser like Paige Beckers is. You know, there's players that are floor and ceiling raisers. With Caitlin Clark scoring, you're always going to be a good team with her.
Right.
But without that top team, I think you need someone like Paige Beckers who can do everything for you on the court, like a LeBron.
Oh, okay. LeBron
Like a
comparison.
Like a LeBron or a Luka, someone who could do everything.
I think we started seeing it throughout the Indiana Fever's downward towards the season. The Caitlin Clark really started going with the rest of the team. She was a little bit shaky in the beginning of the season. However, that's some rookie slumps that everybody's going to be able to fall into. Paige, she hasn't shown anything in the professional level. Caitlin has. And to be honest, I got Caitlin over Paige right now.
Okay, I kind of have a mix of both. I think Caitlin Clark is the better individual player. You know, as a scorer, what she does from three, it's incredible. I think her ceiling is absolutely through the roof. However, I think Paige Beckers is a bit of a better teammate. I think she's just better at dishing assists. She can play that point guard, shooting guard, whatever it is they need her to play, she can be that. And I think it's interesting because Caitlin Clark is always going to go off. She's always going to have 20, 30 points, it feels like, all these threes. Paige Beckers, there'll be games where she has like 12, and they still dominate.
The
We
impact
saw
could
that
even
at
be
UConn.
higher than a Caitlin Clark 20 or 30 point game with those 12
exactly,
points.
and I think that's part of it. So for a Wings team that's in development, I really think that Paige Beckers is exactly what they need. To pair with Agumbawale, it's going to be incredible.
don't even get me started
Individual
on that.
player, I got to go with Caitlin Clark. With this, though, looking at a whole team standpoint, got to go with Paige Beckers. And the newest Dallas Wing, welcome to Dallas. So we got to move on. We could talk forever, but let's go to the next take. Open this one up. All right, so now we're going to go from the WNBA draft to the NFL draft and talk about Shedeur Sanders. Will he be a top 10 pick in this draft?
You know, Cam Ward is the unanimous first overall pick. I see him all around the board, just going to the Titans. However, I got Shedeur. All right. I get the arm talent, I get the poise, I get the even swagger from Cam Ward. But I'm a guy that loves his quarterback to be confident. I want a little bit of cockiness in my quarterback. The GOAT, Aaron Rodgers, is to be my GOAT. He's a confident quarterback that gets the job done. And he's going to say, we're going to lead a drive down the field. He's going to joke in the huddle, and he's going to make it right. Shedeur, he's going to start flexing that watch in the NFL and bring in the wins.
5-7 in college, baby.
Okay.
After Jackson State, proven champion
At the
Jackson
FCS
State.
level, absolutely. But
Right.
Shedeur, I think people are too on the extreme with him. You know, they either say he's the best quarterback in the draft, they say, oh, he's trash, no one should draft him. He's a good quarterback. He has a solid arm. He's decent in the pocket, not super mobile, not a crazy arm. He's someone I'd take in like the second round, a solid option.
Second round,
He's someone,
okay.
yeah, he's someone that I could see becoming a starter eventually, you know, maybe not the same story, but Brock Purdy-esque in terms of being a solid, dependable starter who is in that top half of the league.
Solid, dependable starter that takes his team to the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would kill
I
for
could
that
take
in
the
second
49ers
round,
to the
right?
Super Bowl. I mean, let's be real. But no, Shedeur is talented, but definitely not someone I would take anywhere near the top 10.
Okay, interesting. So Shedeur, it's been interesting because they've been Hawks that he could go 2 at first, and now he's really sliding down draft boards. We saw the Giants picking up Russell Wilson, the Browns not looking to go quarterback most likely. It's going to be interesting. I think the Saints is a real landing spot, so it might be just outside. That's kind of my spot because he is, to me, the number 2 quarterback in this draft, no doubt, just because there's not that much. But top 10, man, I don't know. There's just a lot of question marks, and we could talk forever, but we got to move on again because we have 5 of these. So now, okay, this is a loaded one, guys. It just says, does defense win championships? We know that has a little bit of deeper meaning with Nico and the Mavs and the press conference. Guys, does defense win championships?
You got to say the real answer, which is It does.
Wow, okay.
Nico, he has his issues. And he's using phrases to try and act like he knows what he's doing. But defense does win championships.
Right.
We've seen you need a star to win a championship. But in the rare exceptions, the Pistons back in the day, we saw their defense drag them to that title. This year, we've seen one of the best teams of all time in the Thunder, and it's from their defense leading them that they are such a good team. Celtics, same thing. Cavs, same thing. The league is getting really defensive-oriented with how many scorers there are. And I think that shows just how important defense is.
So I'm getting PTSD with that
Right?
all over.
Just
again.
reading that.
Defense winning championships. You don't give up generational talent to improve that defense.
Let me
But
just say,
that's
I
not the
agree
thing,
there.
right?
I
That's not
agree
the
there.
thing, right? Defense wins championships. It absolutely does.
Yes.
In terms of football, you're not going anywhere without that defense. Yes, you need points to win the game, but ultimately, if your defense could really come in and stop the opposing team from getting momentum, that's going to be a really game changer throughout the whole game. Defense does win championships.
At the root of the game, stop the other team from scoring is the goal. I mean, you're trying to get them the least amount of points as possible and you more than them. So defense is the most important thing.
I'm glad we finally agree on
I
something.
know, it's rare.
Finally, right? I do agree. Defense, yes, it is a huge point in all sports. That's
Absolutely.
always going to matter. Do I want to trade my generational superstar in Luka Doncic for defense? No,
Give me
I don't.
Clint Capella for Luka. Actually.
Yeah, right? Defense. So, yeah, I think in the way it's being used for all of this, it's just become cliche, and I don't think it's an excuse for everything that's gone down. So that's really the loaded part of that one. Let's move on. Got to shake that off.
Get that out of my head.
I know, right? Here we go. Which gets banned first? Either of these, torpedo bots or the tush push? Do you think either of these goes?
I think that the tush push does go. We've
Okay.
seen the tush push banned defensively. It's not banned offensively yet, but there's been a lot of push for that. But I think that we probably see a ban within the next couple of years, or at least reduced in some way. Less opportunities to do it. And the torpedo bat is brand new. I mean, the Yankees just brought it out this season, and it's been working pretty well. But the Yankees aren't world beaters. They've been batting well, but it's not something that's an immediate ban. So I think we could see a couple more years of experimentation with the bats before we get to the banning phase. While tush push is already there.
Yeah, it seemed like it cooled off a little bit. The
At first
Yankees
it
had
was-
that insane series, and it was like, okay, is this just going to take over the game?
And
It's
now
quieted
it's-
down a little bit. The tush push has been tabled. Oscar, do you think either of these goes away?
So I don't think either of them go away, and I believe none of them should go away.
I
When
agree.
You're a
I agree.
team that is just so much better in terms of the analytical department and the math department, or just you got nerds on your side to help
Go
you
nerds.
with the science of a bat. That, hey, if we put enough wood on this piece of bat that you hit most of the time, it's going to go pretty far. Hey, this is a play that can get you a yard automatically. You're going to go for it every time because you just strategize for that. You're just that much better than any other coach that didn't get to it first. So I feel really strongly about this subject. I believe none of them should be banned because of the strategic background that went into these decisions.
I agree on the bat, but with the tush push, we've seen the defensive equivalent pushing behind the defensive players. We've seen that banned. So I think the fact that offensive players can do it, it's a little bit of that offensive bias we see in the rules always. I think it's a little bit more. We want to give the offensive players more opportunities. So I'm not necessarily a strong proponent for the ban, but I'm definitely okay with it if it gets banned.
Yeah, we'll see about the bats. I think it's just going to take more time to see how if players adjust to them, how it all works itself out. And then with the tush push, I don't want to see it banned. I just think that this is a play that the Eagles have perfected because anyone can do it. It's not like they're the only ones.
Yeah.
It's just no one's done it as good as them.
That offensive line. And Jalen
Exactly.
Hurts
So
and-
to me, I don't think you can ban them for being good. That's
fair.
my
They
take
lost
on that
a
one.
Hall of Fame center, and they're still able to do it as a
Yep,
Definitely a fair
exactly.
take.
And we got to go. Our final take.
Last one.
Kicking back to the NBA, who goes further in the playoffs, of the veterans in the Lakers or the Golden State Warriors? LeBron, Curry, Luka, how are you guys feeling?
I mean, this is tough because they've both been really good at the end of the season. They both hit hot streaks. They both could go far in the playoffs, but they also both have OKC in their conference, so there's a ceiling on that. I think that it's really just whoever plays them first in the West. They're both really good teams. The Lakers get OKC first. I think they go out first. I think we saw Jimmy Butler and Curry last night. They were elite. I mean, I think the Warriors are going to go nuclear against the Rockets. And in a more defensive matchup that we've seen all season, they've been low scoring against each other. I think that star power could really make the difference.
Well, I'm going with the team with the most star power in the Lakers. I believe that duo is phenomenal. I mean, you have it's really arguable that it's the two best playmaking duo of all time.
Absolutely.
And I believe that team can really just do numbers on OKC, Memphis, on any team from the West, and maybe even give the Celtics a real shot at that title.
No, the Lakers are great. Luka and LeBron, one of the best duos of all time. They can't touch OKC. The OKC team we've seen this season just is not close to the Lakers. It is in a different stratosphere. And without a rim runner that Luka needs, he needs that gaffer, that lively that he's had before. And he doesn't really have that in LA. So I think without that plus, they're going to get destroyed by the OKC Thunder.
All right, it's going to be interesting to watch. Two really good teams, lots of veterans, but I got to go with Luka Magic. I got to do it. But we got to move on now and talk some more baseball, talk about the Texas Rangers.
There's no harm in wanting to have fun while in college, but it's easy to lose track of how much you've had. Apps like Drink Control and Alkadroid can help keep track of your consumption and blood alcohol levels. If you or someone else does drink too much, the signs of alcohol poisoning are as follows: pale skin, vomiting, confusion, low body temperatures, irregular breathing, blacking out, and is hard to wake up or cannot be woken up.
Dude, are you okay? Hey, what's wrong? Wake up.
It's an exciting time of year, but it's important to be responsible. If you suspect someone is suffering from alcohol poisoning, get help immediately. You will not get in trouble for seeking help if you are underage. For more info and resources, go to UNT's Division of Student Affairs.
Hey Alex, this guy on the internet says he wants to give me money.
That sounds suspicious.
What do you mean?
Typically, strangers who promise you money on the internet have their own best interest in mind. They often use bounced checks, which will disappear shortly after depositing, but not before they've asked for some money in return.
So he doesn't really want to spoil me?
No.
Well, then what should I do?
The best way to handle it is to block and report the suspicious message, or even consult local law enforcement if you've already fallen victim.
So I guess we aren't going to Key West for spring break.
No.
Welcome back to SportsZone. We're going to talk some Texas Rangers baseball here. Joining me is Sean Hunley and Rohan Srinivasan. And Rohan, a little bit of an injury there. I know that you were playing some.
On the big screen.
You were out there. Tell us what happened.
70 miles an hour on the back of my wrist, broken arm, recovery time 4 to 6 weeks.
Dang. Oh, man.
Crazy.
I'm glad you could be here playing through the pain.
Yes,
and, you know, we got to talk about some Texas Rangers now that they've played through a lot of adversity. They've started off up and then down and then up again, and it's just been crazy. But end of the day, they're 11-7, tied for first in the American League. So it seems like despite everything, they've managed to get it done for now. They're on a 2-game winning streak after that 3-game skid in the sweep loss to the Seattle Mariners. So now they have Game 3 against the Angels tonight. Sean, what have you seen from the Rangers so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's been a decent season so far. I can't lie. You know, they're first in the American League, I believe, West.
Yes,
yeah,
tied
so
for first in
in
the.
Make sure I don't say anything wrong. But I mean, you know, it's been, you know, a lot of good wins at home and a lot of small ball. You know, just the bats have not really come alive this season. Not a lot of major blowout games. You know, it's been a lot of 1-0, 2-1, 3-2. I mean, just really, really close games. And you know, they definitely struggle to play in the cold. That's for sure. You know, they got swept by the Mariners a few days ago. You know, again, it's cold up there in Seattle. You know, can't really fault them for that. But they're playing really well at home.
Yeah,
you know,
struggled against the Cubs too. It's
absolutely. You know, they won that. They lost that first game, 14-0 in Cincinnati, and then they won 2-1. You know, 2 1-0 games. So I like what I'm seeing as far as the wins. You know, all the wins in the win column, but I don't like the small ball. I really want the bats to come alive, but in the same respect, it's early. You know, you can't really fault a team for not really winning a lot of, you know, just blowout games. It's early. You know, we're 17 games into the Rangers season, so you know we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean we started 8-2. Now
Yes,
to go to 11-7, it's a bit tricky. But with the Angels coming in, right, we have a great season coming up, and you see the highlights right there. I think this bullpen is something that we need to talk about because over previous years we couldn't say this, right? We used to literally, they're playing like me with the broken arm with their bullpen, but right now they're doing really well, and I think we need to give them credit. 11-7, it's okay, first in the AL West, like you said, Sean, but we can do better than that, and I think it's a good sign that we haven't hit our true potential yet.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, and I do want to give some credit to the pitching because the bullpen has been, I think it was my biggest concern over the last few seasons, especially coming into this one with a completely rebuilt pen, but it's been really solid. The starting pitching has been very good. As a team, the Rangers are near the top in ERA. I mean, it's been very, very good. The bats obviously have been cold, but the pitching I think is something that I was more concerned about going in, and I feel better about that.
It's been great, Stephen. They've given up only 1 run in the past 2 games.
Yeah, and that's a great point there, but the bats, I mean.
They're playing the Angels, though.
Yeah,
they are, but it's the Texas Rangers bullpen, bro. The bullpen of ours is so bad always. So I'm happy.
Yeah, I'm happy as well, and it's important. I think this is the part that I was really concerned about. Some of these young guys like Kumar Rocker, like Jack Leiter, they've really come in and played very well. Tyler Malley has been incredible. I mean, we have guys with an ERA under 1, and I mean, Leiter's going to be back from the injury soon. The pitching's been very good, but the bats, guys like Jock Peterson, Marcus Simeon, just absolutely struggling. These guys are meant to be some of the best hitters on your team, and it just hasn't happened. Sean, why are the bats so cold, and how concerned are you for them getting going?
Yeah, it's you bring in guys like Jake Berger, Jock Peterson to kind of revive the bats. You want to have these guys that have that they've played on these championship teams. They know what it takes to win, and then he's not. Jock is at pretty much the bottom of every single stat category for the Texas Rangers compared to Jake Berger, who is leading the team with 8 RBIs. So it's good to see that you got some improvement. It's just unfortunate because it's like you pay these guys to come in here and really help out your team, and then they don't really perform. So what do? Do you send them down to the minors? Do you bring up a guy like Evan Carter, who's obviously struggled to even make the team? So I don't know. It's unfortunate, but it's like I said, it's still early, and I'm seeing signs of improvement. Wyatt Langford struggled a lot in his rookie season, and he's leading the team in home runs.
Yes.
Everybody struggled last year. Seager, Simeon, you go all the way down the roster. You see some improvement from some guys. Some guys are still kind of struggling to get to that point. So we'll see what happens. You got a tough series coming up against the Dodgers this weekend, and you're going to need your bats. So you're going to need these guys to really show their stuff here. So we'll see what happens in the coming days.
And like you said, we're only 18 games in. We have 162 of them. We have a lot of time to get the bats going here. But someone who's impressed me, guys, not Josh Young, another Josh and Josh Smith. This guy has actually been pretty good.
He's very solid.
From not putting bat to ball in his first 10 at-bats to now batting it above 300, to be precise, 342. I think that's a story of many of these Rangers players, right? You don't get off hot, but it's 162 games, guys. We have a lot of time left, and I have no doubt that we will get going as the season goes along.
Yep, lots of games ahead, and we'll talk about the Dodgers series in just a moment, but they do have one more game against the LA Angels. Obviously, had that rough sweep against the Mariners. Do you think they can bounce back and sweep the Angels to kind of get even again, Rohan?
Absolutely, man.
Okay.
Like I said, only one run in the last 2 games. Kumar Rocker is going to be pitching tonight. His slider is unplayable at the moment. Watch out for the matchup between Mike Trout and Kumar Rocker. It's going to be a fun one.
Yep.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing, what have the Rangers done to kind of really win the series so far? I mean, the pitching's been immaculate. Patrick Corbin in his first game as a Ranger went through five-ish innings and only gave up 5 hits, but only 1 earned run. The same thing, Tyler Malley, just incredible, a .92 ERA, 6 innings of work, 9 strikeouts. I mean, they're just having a ball out there, and not to mention their bullpen. We said it earlier. I mean, you bring in guys like Jacob Webb, Mark Church is here, but he's not really pitched that much. But there's another guy that I don't really know his name.
Luke Jackson, the closer.
Luke Jackson. Right. Well, not the closer. Chris Martin.
Oh, Chris Martin, of course, the veteran.
Those 2 guys I was looking
Former
for. The guys that come in to set up Luke Jackson. I mean, they're doing well. So it's so good to see these guys come in for maybe 1 to 2 innings and just hold on to those 1-run leads. The 2-1 games. That's what I want to see in a Rangers team. A bullpen that can come in and hold down the lead to set up your closer. And that's what they're doing really well.
And also, what a time to get the bats going, right? Angels are ranked 27th in terms of pitching. They're absolutely horrible, giving up ERA of 4.7, almost 5 runs a game. What a time for the Rangers to start coming at these at-bats because the Dodgers are coming into town, and they are the best team in baseball.
Best team in baseball. Okay, I don't know about that.
They rank first in batting and pitching.
But they're third in their division.
They're third in their own division. Thank you.
I'm so glad you brought up the Dodgers.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's hear it, Dodgers.
Let's do it. Go
Absolutely.
ahead.
So, well, if you look at the Dodgers schedule, they've lost the past 2 or 3 series they've played. Now, of course, then you get gifted with a team like the Rockies, who's it's Colorado Rockies. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
but,
guys.
I mean, they won 1 game in each of the series they played with Philly, Washington, and Chicago. So they're on a little bit of a slump. However, when you've got guys like Shohei Ohtani, Tommy Edman, Max Muncy, Freddie Freeman, I mean, I could just go down the list, and then the whole roster of pitching that's just absolutely out of this world. The Dodgers being able to manage their cap is just incredible. So I think both of these clubs are really going to look to, it's really going to be about who's better in the pitching category. If you look at the matchups all 3 days, it's going to be a monster pitching matchup. However, it's going to come down to who's got the better bats. And right now, if you compare them, I think the Dodgers are obviously better as far as the batting categories go, but I can't wait to see if the Rangers can improve and actually beat the Dodgers and maybe win the series this weekend.
I actually have them winning probably 2 out of the 3 because if you give me one of DeGrom, one of Eovaldi, we have a chance to win the series. But also, I'm so glad that we're not playing in their backyard because we would get swept. I think you know that too, Sean.
Well,
we're playing in their backyard.
Well, like I said, the first matchup, Jacob deGrom versus Yamamoto. I don't know.
That could be a win.
I don't know how to say his first name. I'm sorry.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto.
There you go. Game number 2, you've got Nick Eovaldi versus Roki Sasaki. Now,
Could be a win.
Sasaki's having a pretty decent season so far, so don't count him out. And then Sunday, you got the Tyler matchups. Tyler Glasnow versus Tyler Mahle. So really great pitching. It's going to come down to the bats and, who makes the more mistakes. That's what I'm looking
Yeah, truly. What pitching matchups, though? I mean, we talked about the Rangers. We have our bets there. DeGrom, Eovaldi, and Mahle have been very good this season. DeGrom, I look for him to kind of have that showcase game. He's been good, but I look for him to be great in this Dodgers series. So it's going to be exciting. The Dodgers, I don't think they're the best team right now. Definitely have the potential to, especially after all the names we just.
But also, Steven, 11-7 are the Texas Rangers.
Yeah.
Is their record speaking for themselves? They're not. They're not 11-7. They're way better than that.
You think the Rangers are better than 11-7?
11-7 Come on, man.
Because there's some conflict, though, that some of these games that, I don't know. I have mixed feelings.
I'll put it lightly. 11-7 with averaging 3 runs a game. You think if
That's
these
the
at-bats
concern.
can going, we can start winning more games?
Absolutely. And that's the issue. Pitching has been absolutely great. The bats, we're going to have to see because you need them against a team like the Dodgers. Obviously, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, once he's good from a shower injury, I guess. It's going to be, it's going to be a great series. Obviously, being at home in Globe Life Field in Arlington, it's going to be great.
First game on Fox 2.
Finally, we can see some games, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's going to be very good, and I'm excited. I really do think the Rangers can take at least 2 out of 3. We're going to have to watch. But for now, we're going to move on and talk about some of our favorite years in sports history.
Hey UNT students! Looking for creativity and inspiration? The UNT Union Gallery invites you to experience artwork at the art exhibit from your own talented Eagle artists. This free exhibit features a rotating selection of incredible artwork from talented Mean Green artists. Don't miss your chance to experience creativity up close. Stop by anytime during union hours. Want to hear more from the artist yourself? Join us at the Ask and Eat reception, where you can dive deeper into the creative process and enjoy a good conversation over a bite to eat. Don't miss the latest exhibit at the UNT Union. Immerse yourself in the art and be sure to explore the many other exciting exhibits rotating in throughout the semester.
Are you tired of seeing the same old city? You want to learn something and go overseas? Then study abroad with one of many UNT Study Abroad programs. You can find a Study Abroad office right here at Markey Hall, room 145.
My study abroad program left on me a great impression. We have a lot of different programs and it varies. We have faculty-led, affiliate, and exchange programs. When you're ready to leave for your study abroad program from UNT, you're going to go through pre-departure orientation and modules so that you are prepared.
The power to turn the world into your classroom is right here at UNT with our study abroad programs. Take flight and take in charge of your education.
Welcome back to SportsZone. I'm your host, Steven Lucero, and we're going to go back in time, have a little bit of nostalgia guide in here, and talk about some of our favorite and best years in sports history. Joining me, Matthew McDowell once again, and Kenzie Neely. So Matthew, start us off. Looking back at all the years of sports, there's some great ones. Tell me, which one is your personal favorite?
Well, my year might not be the most flashiest year, I'll say, but 2019, I mean, there's a lot of good in that year. I mean, I'm sure people are going to think of, oh, that's Rams and Patriots Super Bowl 13-3. I mean, if you like defense, oh, perfect. You sit down and watch that for 3 hours. I know not as many people are fans of that, but I'm going to talk about maybe some more niche sports, if you will. 2019, I think the most famous thing from that year was Tiger's comeback. From all those back fusions he's had, personal troubles, and just the long absence from golf, and especially the top of the game, to come back and win at the highest stage and do it in the manner that he did do it. I mean, it was legendary. It's stuff that you write books about. So, I mean, that'll be the first thing that people think of when 2019. And another thing in 2019 that was record-breaking was in the NHL, the St. Louis Blues won the Stanley Cup. And something that is interesting about that, January 3rd, they were 38 games into the season. They were dead last. It's the first time a team that far back into the season has ever come up to win the Stanley Cup final. So, I mean, they beat Boston in 7. It was a legendary series. That's when Jordan Bennington, that was like the birth of Jordan Bennington, if you will. He's had his controversies since then. I mean, he stepped up huge in the Canada game. But another game that I would love to highlight is the Alabama and Clemson game. Clemson absolutely dismantled them. And you just look at the names of the players on those teams. I mean, the quarterbacks for Alabama, Mac Jones, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa. Their running back room, Najee Harris, Damian Harris. And Josh Jacobs. I was forgetting that one. Their wide receiver room, Jalen Waddle, Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith. I mean, and that's just the offense. That's not even including the O-line. I believe Landon Dickerson was on that team. But it's just stacked teams. On Clemson, it was Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Hunter Renfrow, T. Higgins, Justin Ross. I mean, those offenses were just it was fireworks. I mean, you look at that game and people think, oh, it's the Nick Saban era. He's still that guy. Alabama's still the team to beat. And Clemson just comes in and dismantles them. So, and I would also like to add Astros lost in 7. And I believe that was the first World Series win. Every single win was for the away team. So I had to include a cheater's loss in that one. So it'll be 2019 for me.
I love it. That makes it even more special for me. And hey, pre-COVID, I think that in itself makes me happy. Full stadiums, none of anything of that. 2019, definitely a classic year. Kenzie, looking back, what is your favorite year in sports history?
My favorite year has to be 2016.
Okay.
It was really the year that I fell in love with watching sports. I mean, I was always a sports person. I ran track my whole life. And so I loved doing that. But I never was really into basketball, football. I just kind of watched it on the side. 2015 is whenever I fell in love with basketball because I got to watch the Warriors and I was like, oh my gosh, who is Steph Curry? I love this. I've been in love with him since. But 2016, they did unfortunately lose. But that doesn't come at no cost. They had a 73-9 season. That was it broke a record. It was amazing. But the Cavs also were the first team ever to come back from a 3-1 deficit that year. So it really did break my heart, but it was really cool to see. And then another thing I wanted to talk about is the Rio Olympics. That was that's been my favorite Olympics ever. So I really love talking about that. You have Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps cementing the most highly most decorated medals.
Yes.
So yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, he was incredible. And look at you stealing my year. Man, mine is 2016 as well. I mean, for me, it's just all the nostalgia, everything. It just felt like one of the best years, just in general, but in sports, I mean, it was incredible. You named a lot of it. I like the Warriors too. I loved Curry at the time, especially. Just so exciting. The element that he brought to those games was incredible. But I love the Cavs for that season, being able to have LeBron come back home and hey, the king on his throne, gets his title. I mean, I just think that's so special. I mean, something unlike really anything else. I mean, just coming home to the land, it was incredible. And then just other than that, Tim Duncan's final year, Kobe's final year, final game, incredible final game for Kobe Bryant at the Staples Center. Back, oh man, when the name was right too.
And the rise of Conor McGregor. Don't forget about
Conor
that.
McGregor as well, bring it
McGregor.
to the UFC.
Super Bowl 50, Peyton Manning's last game, and he won.
Oh my gosh. Shout out Von Miller, Super Bowl MVP. That is my guy, childhood hero in football growing up. Sorry to interrupt you all. I just had to get that Von Miller shoot.
I know, there's so much. And I mean, I'd be lost if I didn't talk about my Cowboys. I mean, of all the years I've watched them, I think that's the most hopeful, the most happy I've ever been. 12-year-old me with Dak and Zeke, it was like, finally, this is our year. Unfortunately, it wasn't. But it was so exciting that year. I mean, just those memories of Zeke running through the line during that Steelers game, I mean, just lives in my head. Picking up the ball, I mean, just incredible. That screen for the touchdown, that's one of my favorite games of all time. But that season, Dak, Zeke, legendary. And it breaks my heart just as a Cowboys fan knowing that Dak is the only player remaining from that team. Tyron Smith, Zach Martin retiring. We've seen so much turnover in those last few seasons, this year especially. That year will always be special to me. Dak and Zeke, man. That was peak.
And the first year of the Pittsburgh Penguins back-to-back championships. Sidney Crosby and Marc-Andre Fleury finally being the star goalie.
Exactly.
There was a little bit of mix-up in the 2011s, but just another one, though.
Yeah, seriously.
Legendary,
in hockey,
legacy.
Too. Yep, and that's just – and we can't not talk about the Cubs, right?
Exactly.
I mean, after, 100 years basically of drought, the GOAT curse, everything, the Cubs finally come back, win their World Series. I mean, I don't know. That year, it just felt like throughout every sport, there was just legendary moments.
I mean, even college, I think it was Villanova that won the March Madness.
Jalen Brunson.
That last-minute three, it was a crazy year.
Yeah, there's just so much. I mean, that incredible team, Brunson and Bridges and Dante DiVincenzo. You guys see that commercial during March Madness? I mean, just Josh Hart, of course. I don't know. There's just so much. Really cool. So much great time, so much nostalgia. I mean, I remember playing Madden Mobile that year, the OG version, if you guys remember that.
Real ones know.
Right? Real ones know. That was it was an incredible year. And just like that, it was an incredible year for SportsZone, right?
Yeah.
We're in our final show, and I want to thank all of you guys for watching. I want to give a special shout out to all of the cast, everyone back here. I know you guys don't usually see them, but this show does not happen without everyone. Looking at the control room, our director, technical director, graphics, highlights, audio. Looking around, our floor director, camera 1, 2, 3, 4 with the jib. Thanks, Jackson. Everyone, our sports directors, Nash Lowry, Wyatt Schott, Gabby Pippins, associates, Adam C., Isaiah Ortiz, Jess Qualley, and Jackson Berry, all of our incredible analysts and cast. Shout out especially to all the seniors graduating. Truly, best of luck in your careers going forward. We thank you guys for being a part of us, and thank you guys all for watching. So make sure to follow us at our socials. Stay up to date at NTTV Sports. Make sure to stay tuned next week where we'll have some specials, a special WWE and NFL draft show. Stay tuned. Coming up right next in news, talking about their final show of the season. And once again, from all of us at SportsZone, I'm your host, Steven Lucero. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys next season on SportsZone.